Hey everyone, okay, is this even on? Yes it is. So I'm going to be giving you a review and a demonstration of the new Charlotte Tilbury foundation, which is Airless Airbrush Flawless Foundation. So the shade I'm going to be using on myself is number 5 and it is Cool. It is a massive shade range. I'm also going to show you the concealer, which looks like this. And these are correctors actually, not concealers. And they go from fair, medium, tan and deep. So I've actually had this foundation now for 2.5 weeks, almost 3 weeks. And I was very lucky that I got sent pretty much everything, which is incredible. So thank you very much. Now, as with most things with regards to reviews, I don't tend to post immediately. I like to have them for a little bit first. So that means I've got a little bit of time, well, quite a lot of time to actually give an honest impression of the foundation. Now, there are already a load of people online reviewing it in its full coverage abilities. I don't want to do that. So I'm going to wipe off all this, anything I've got on my face, and then we'll slap it on. So it's a very full coverage foundation and a little goes a very long way. Now, as I mentioned, there's loads of people on YouTube who have reviewed this and they've pumped that stuff out and they've shown you it in its full coverage. I want to show you how I would apply it. So I'm going to give it a shake and I'm going to apply one single pump to the back of my hand, and I'm not even going to use all of that. What I like to do is prep the skin first. If you want to use some moisturizer, you can, or a primer. I'm just going to dot it on my face like this, and that's what I'm going to use. Now I'm actually going to take the Charlotte Tilbury brush, if it would, oh for God's sake, I'm sick of this. Oh hello, why don't you not focus? Do you not care? No, of course you don't care. Right, so I'm going to take this and I'm now going to blend it. So I'm just blending it. Now, if you use, this is a matte foundation. Now, if you use it with the the Magic Cream, then you're going to get a much dewier finish. I'm using this without anything on the skin whatsoever. And you have to work moderately quick with this foundation when you're not using it with anything, because it has a quick dry down time, which I am not unhappy about. So you saw the amount I used, which generally speaking wasn't a lot, and I'll show you the back of my hand. And the reason I'm doing it like this is A, because there's too many people on YouTube doing it really full coverage. And this is a realistic application of foundation. So you can see if this would focus. Oh my God, honestly, what is wrong with this camera? I know you all think it's incredibly funny, but it's just the most annoying thing. So there's still a lot of product left. So I'm going to put a little bit more here and just kind of in any areas I can see there's a little bit more redness. So I've had this for a few weeks. As far as longevity goes, it depends on your skin type. Dry skin, expected to last about a week and a half. On oilier skin tones, it really depends on how you set it, but expect a good amount of longevity from this foundation. So that's what I call enough foundation. So let's start with the corrector, because then we can correct underneath the eyes, because when you've done foundation, the eyes can oftentimes look a bit pink, so we're going to deal with that. So I'm going to take my number 16 brush and I'm going to take the medium, and this is a corrector shade. So I'm just going to move it in the product, and then I'm just going to make sure that there's not too much on there. I don't want too much on there. And I'm going to go right in here. So this inner portion of the eye, and you all know that I really like to brighten this portion because it just makes you look more awake. And then I'm just going to take a little bit and I'm just going to, with my brush, just work it mainly at the outside corner and just a little bit along the outside, the inner corner here, but really just there where I get discoloration. Now, this is a cream product. As with all creams, they tend to crease unless you set them, so bear that in mind. The reason I'm not using a huge amount is one, I don't need to, and two, I don't like lots and lots and lots and lots of product unless it's really necessary. So we're going to set this and then we're going to talk. So I'm just going to set this, and I'm setting it with shade number 1 of the Charlotte Tilbury. And I've spoken about this powder many, many times. It's a great powder. So I'm just going to set mainly just this area because I haven't put anything else on my skin, and therefore it's a matte foundation. I don't need too much. We're going to add a bit of color because otherwise, you know, you just look sickly. So I'm going to take Pillow Talk and I'm just going to kind of just grace it across the product, and then I'm just going to go along the cheekbones and just up into the temples with it because I just love it here. I think it looks like you've been outside when you've got a little bit of warmth at the forehead, a little bit across the bridge of the nose, why not? Okay, there you go. Realistic application of foundation, particularly with a full coverage foundation. Generally speaking, I can get away with using half a pump on myself, and around about a pump is the normal expectation. Expect approximately 165 days worth of product in here if you use one pump. If you use two, you can expect it to last you. If you use half a pump, you can expect it to last you pretty much a year. It's good value for money. The concealer is 2.5 grams of product, the Corrector, and it does come in 3 different shades. The foundation comes in like 40 shades. It's massive, ranging from neutral to warm to cool, so it depends on your preference. I'm using number 5 in cool, and it's a pretty decent match for me in real life and looking in this mirror, but you know, it's up to you. You can go slightly warmer or slightly cooler. It just depends on your preference. A lot of people prefer a cooler based foundation, which means it has more pink in it because they're used to seeing a lot of pink in their face. So when they go with a yellow, they oftentimes will say, look, I just feel it's too sort of sallow looking, and I get that, but most people generally have more yellow undertones, but it's a really big shade range. If you have very, very, very dry skin, you're going to want to use this with a beauty blender. You're not going to want to use a brush. You're going to want to use a lot of moisturizer and any form of luminosity. If you mix this foundation in with the Hollywood Flawless filter, which I think is the most beautiful thing, you will get an extraordinary result. And I should have done it here, but I didn't. Never mind. But the Hollywood Flawless filter is the most beautiful primer with a real intense shimmer, but it acts like a super glue. So when you add a foundation to it, you get this incredibly divine looking skin. It's quite extraordinary. I'm going to put a touch on actually. I'm going to put a little touch on, and I don't like to use it over, but for this time I will. Why not? And I'm just going to pat it in, and you're not even going to notice it because the lights in here are so bright. And the reason they're so bright is because it makes me look so young and youthful and dewy and ethereal and all those things that I'm not. So just going to pat it in, but you get the gist. But blend this in with the foundation if you already have it, or if not and it's in price, and go out and get it. But it just gives a really nice, beautiful effect to the skin. Again, approximately 165 days of use with this, with one pump. So it's going to last you a long time. Thank you so much for listening to me talk absolute bollocks. Really appreciate it, and I'll see you all soon. Thank you very, very much. Bye-bye.